Yo, welcome to a brand new format, a brand new style, a completely new, original and completely different 7 minutes of science. By which I mean we'll be uploading this on midday Monday as opposed to on Sundays. Now, it happened by accident last week and we got 10 times as many viewers, which sounds impressive, but you have no idea how few people watch this. Anyway, my name's Eddie Edwards, this is 7 Minutes of Science, so without any further ado, let me spend a moment trying to remember which way round this winds up facing on your screen. Can we have 7 minutes on that clock? And hope I don't have to reverse this. 7 minutes on the clock, and in 3, 2, 1, let's do this. First big story of the week, what does Miley Cyrus have in common with Jupiter? Well, they've both done that. Basically, the thing here is that Jupiter, as opposed to sitting out like the gas gianty type mass that we assume it is, sitting there soaking up meteorites and keeping life on Earth safe enough that people like us can develop and eventually spend way too much time worrying about how much their beard looks before making YouTube videos. Basically, Jupiter wasn't always there. We're not a typical solar system, something we didn't know until recently because we didn't know of any other planetary systems. But it turns out you should have super-Earths closer to the Sun than Mercury is to ours. We don't have them. Why? Because Jupiter probably spent its time swinging around like a wrecking ball in the inner solar system, screwed up all of the protoplanets, broke them apart, they smashed into each other again, formed little smaller planets because it had pulled up some of the mass, and then it stabilised when Saturn formed. I don't fully understand the maths on it, but it sounds kind of cool. Basically, it's making it sound more and more, as we get more information, that the formation of our solar system was basically a very, very lucky snooker trick shot by the gods. So we can be a little bit thankful for that. And on to Tuesday's big story. The Large Hadron Collider is having its second run slightly delayed. This is due to a short circuit in one of the magnets. Now, if you don't know how the LHC works, firing a beam around like that, you can't hold that beam with hands or claws or robots. So what you have to use is magnetic fields to hold it. Those magnets are super cool. So even though this is a very simple short circuit that they know exactly what's going on, it should be very easy to fix. It is going to take time because they have to basically raise it back up to a temperature where humans can touch it before letting it cool off again, before firing up, then cooling it down again. This is a bit of a delay, but I wanted to share with you a quote by Rolf Hurt, the organisation's Director General. He said, "All the signs are good for a great run too. In the grand scheme of things, a few weeks' delay in humankind's quest to understand our universe is little more than a blink of the eye." Bravo! Well put. We on Earth, we're used to instantaneous things. We're used to, oh my God, it hasn't happened yet. Like, we only discovered science. Like, science really came into its own about 250 years ago, and we've already got this far. We're cracking along. We can take a week, okay? On to the big story from Wednesday, and it's a spooky story for you this week. Yeah, pretty spooky. And spooky is not a word I get to use often, but I can use it today because Albert Einstein originally used this. I'm talking, of course, about spooky action at a distance, as he called it, or as you may know it, quantum entanglement. This is the idea that two atoms can become entangled. A change of state to one atom affects the other one instantly. You move this one up, this one moves down. And they're just synced up like that forever. And it doesn't matter how far apart they are, it's instantaneous. It beats the speed of light, hence spooky action at a distance. I agree with you, Albo. You're good on that one. Anyway, this is something new has been done. Using a single photon, they have managed to entangle 3,000 atoms. That's insane, that's crazy, that's mental. Going to be very, very useful apparently for atomic clocks. If these things are moving in swing, we can make them more accurate. At the moment, there's a square law. This makes it a direct link between number of atoms and how well it works. But also, I like the idea that this is possible for communication over long distances faster than the speed of light. Whether or not it'll ever actually come to that, I don't know, but that's my own personal take on it. Okay. Tuesday takes us to Ebola. Yeah, the Ebola outbreak that is still going on, but the news unaccountably stopped caring about as soon as they realised that white people weren't going to be affected. If you think that that's unfair, I will point out this. The day of the Charlie Hebdo shooting in France, there was a massacre in Nigeria carried out by Islamic militants that killed hundreds of people. You don't really know about that. No one's really heard about that because 5 people died in Paris. Anyway, it turns out, in one of those rare circumstances, the scientists who originally told us about how scary and terrifying Ebola are going to be happy to be wrong. The virus that is currently causing the West Africa outbreak isn't as evolving as quickly as people originally thought it might. What does that mean? It means it's slowed down. It means it's easier to find a treatment. It's easier, so I say. It means that drugs used against it will work against it next week without it changing too quickly. Changing too quickly is what keeps HIV very elusive to us. Basically, it means hope for a treatment is better. So, yay, good Ebola news. Didn't think I was going to be able to say that any time in the next decade. Next on, some news from the Geological Society of America. That's the Geological Society, not the Geographical Society. The Geographical Society of America is just used for pointing at places on maps that they might want to bomb. Unfortunately, they're a little bit better at geography than the average American, otherwise everyone would be dead. Anyway, As David Bowie once asked us,
Is there life on Mars?
and as Alexi Sale once asked us,
Is there life in Peckham?
now we will never get an answer to that second question, but that first one we might do, because it turns out there is something on Mars called equatorial layered deposits, and if they were on Earth, they would be the perfect home for microbial life. Does that mean there's microbial life there on Mars? No. Basically, these things are formed, and it's definitely formed due to differences happening in the groundwater level. So there's definitely groundwater, and there's definitely differences in it, so that means there's liquid water. It seems like microbial life would live there if microbial life is there. Another place that we should be checking out to see if there is life in the universe other than us, the most important question we can be asking. On to Friday, and finally, this is a pretty cool story. They're sending two people to the ISS, Mikhail Koronenko and Scott Kelly. One's Russian, one's American. I'll let you work out which is which. For a year. This hasn't been done before. People stayed on the Mir space station for longer periods, but that's just because the Russians couldn't afford to get them down. And you know, they didn't really do any real experimentation about it. This is a genuine attempt to find out how does that affect you on long term. Made even more interesting by the fact that Scott Kelly is a twin. His twin brother used to be an astronaut. He's retired, so we have a control for this experiment, which is pretty unusual. This is all to do with, are we going to go to Mars? Are we going to get away from our own planetary system and off into the solar system? If we are, we need to have this kind of information. It's very important, it's very cool, it's very interesting. Another interesting point, this man is a twin, but he's going to be younger than his brother. Relativity is travelling very, very fast. It slows down time for him. Not by much, but by a bit. And finally, this isn't really a science story. Vote Green. There's a UK election coming up, for those of you that know. I don't know whether you're planning at the moment on voting for the Tories or the red Tories or the yellow Tories. What I do know is that the Green Party are the only party that actually care about the fact that the planet's going to burst into flames, you know, where we live. So maybe vote for them. But there's another reason. They want to increase science spending, and they've got a number, 1% of GDP. Now, both Labour and the Conservatives were asked this as well. They couldn't come up with a number, because apparently it's impossible to work out what you're going to spend money on until after an election. Because if you announce it before, oh my God, people might expect you to stick to what you said. Can't have that. Anyway, the Green Party have said 1% of GDP. Seems like a lot. We're currently doing 0.5. But here's the thing. We spent more money bailing out the banks in 1 year than we spent on science. Not in that year, since science had been invented, and with that we built the modern world. Doubling that amount? Hover cars. Maybe not, maybe that's over-optimistic, but come on, it's time. Anyway, thank you very much for watching 7 Minutes of Science. I hope you don't mind me getting slightly political at the end there. Please enjoy if you do enjoy the show, please share it with somebody, please comment, please give us a like. If you don't like the show, give us a comment. Don't click the thumbs down button. Just interact. Let me know that there are people out there watching this and I'm not just throwing these videos into an abyss. Thank you very much for watching. I've been your host, Eddie Edwards, and good luck in your endeavours if your endeavours be good. Goodbye.